Admiral Kim Tae-ho stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the blue and green planet below. New Seoul looked beautiful from space. The Korean-led colony had been growing for 3 years now. Farmers were growing rice in the fertile valleys. Engineers were building cities near the crystal-clear rivers. Children were being born under an alien sun. Kim felt proud. Humanity had finally reached beyond their home solar system. They had built their first colony among the stars. The journey had been long and difficult, but they had made it work. "Admiral," called Captain Lee Dong-wook from his station. "We have something strange on the sensors." Kim turned around. Lee was pointing at his screen. A massive shape was approaching. From deep space, it was bigger than anything humans had ever built. Much bigger. "How big is that thing?" Kim asked. Lee checked his readings twice. "Sir, it's over 5 kilometers long. Our biggest ship is only 800 meters. Dr. Park So-young looked up from her science station. She was the colony's expert on alien life. For 3 years, she had been hoping to meet other intelligent species. Now her dream was coming true, but she felt scared instead of excited. "Admiral, I'm reading energy signatures we've never seen before," Park said. "Their technology is far ahead of ours." The huge alien ship moved closer. It stopped just outside the planet's atmosphere. Kim could see strange lights moving along its dark hull. The ship looked like a giant metal whale with glowing spots. "Sir, they're sending us a message," reported the communications officer. "Put it on screen," Kim ordered. The bridge's main screen flickered. Then an alien face appeared. Kim tried not to show his shock. The creature had gray-blue skin and 4 eyes. Its mouth was full of sharp teeth. When it spoke, its voice was deep and cold. "I am Ambassador Krelath of the Vorthak Dominion," the alien said. "We rule 200 star systems in this region of space. You are trespassing in our territory." Kim stepped forward. He had trained for this moment, but nothing could have prepared him for the real thing. "I am Admiral Kim Tae-ho of the human colonial fleet," he replied. "We come in peace. We didn't know this system belonged to anyone." The alien's 4 eyes focused on Kim. Krelath made a sound that might have been laughter, but it sounded more like a growl. "Humans," Krelath said slowly. "We have heard rumors about your species. You barely learned to fly between stars. You still use primitive chemical rockets and kinetic weapons. You are like children playing with sticks." Park felt angry at the alien's words, but she kept quiet. Kim's face remained calm. "We may be new to space travel," Kim said, "but we are peaceful. We only want to live on this empty planet." "Empty?" Krelath's eyes glowed brighter. "This world belongs to the Vorthak Dominion. All worlds in this region belong to us. You will leave immediately." "We cannot leave," Kim replied. "We have 30,000 colonists here. Families, children. This is their home now." The alien ambassador leaned forward on the screen. "Then you will learn why lesser species bow before the Vorthak. Our weapons can turn your ships into dust. Our shields can stop any attack you could make. Your primitive technology is no match for our power." Captain Lee checked his weapon systems quietly. The human ships carried nuclear missiles and rail guns. They were strong weapons by human standards, but probably useless against alien technology. "We do not want war," Kim said. "Surely we can find a peaceful solution." "There is a solution," Krelath replied. "You will leave this system in 30 of your days. Return to your homeworld. Stay there. If any human ship returns to Vorthak space, we will destroy it." "And if we refuse?" Kim asked. The alien smile showed rows of sharp teeth. "Then we will return with a war fleet. We will destroy your ships. We will burn your colony. We will make sure no human ever forgets the price of defying the Vorthak Dominion." Dr. Park spoke up. "Ambassador, surely 2 intelligent species can coexist. The galaxy is vast, there is room for everyone." Krelath looked at her with disgust. "Coexist? You are barely evolved primates. You fight wars with metal bullets and chemical explosives. You power your ships by burning fuel. You are thousands of years behind us in evolution. Why would we share space with such primitive creatures?" Pilot Choi Ha-na sat at her fighter control station. She had been listening to the conversation. Her hands were clenched into fists. She wanted to launch her squadron and attack the alien ship, but she knew it would be suicide. "We will consider your offer," Kim said carefully. "There is nothing to consider," Kralath snapped. "You have 30 days. Begin your evacuation now. When we return, this system will be empty, or you will all be dead." The alien's image disappeared from the screen. The massive ship began to move away from the planet. Within an hour, it jumped to faster than light speed and vanished. The bridge was quiet for a long moment. Finally, Lee spoke. "Sir, what are your orders?" Kim looked out at the planet below. He thought about the farmers in their fields, the children playing in the new schools, the families who had traveled so far to build a new life. "Call an emergency meeting of all senior staff," Kim said. "We need to discuss our options." "Are we really going to evacuate?" Park asked. Kim turned to face his officers. His eyes were hard with determination. 30,000 people live on that planet," he said. "They left Earth to build something better. They trusted us to protect them. I will not abandon them to alien bullies." "But sir," Lee said quietly, "their technology is far superior to ours. We saw their ship. Our weapons probably cannot even scratch their shields." Kim nodded. "They are more advanced. Their weapons are stronger. Their ships are bigger. But they made one mistake." "What mistake?" Choi asked. Kim smiled grimly. "They think we are primitive. They think they know everything about humans. They think our simple technology makes us weak." Park understood what Kim was thinking. "They underestimated us." "Exactly," Kim said. "They see our kinetic weapons and chemical rockets as signs of weakness. They do not understand that sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective." The Admiral looked around at his officers. "We have 30 days. We are going to use every one of them. When the Vorthak return, they will learn that primitive does not mean powerless." Outside the ship's windows, New Sol continued to spin peacefully in space. The colonists below did not yet know that war was coming. But Admiral Kim Tae-ho was already planning to give the aliens a very unpleasant surprise. Commander Shin Hyun-woo stood in the dark corridor of the abandoned mining station. He was not really abandoned, but the aliens had to think it was. The Vorthak ship had left 5 days ago, and the humans were working fast. Shin opened his small computer and smiled. During the meeting with Ambassador Kralath, he had quietly released dozens of tiny spy drones. The drones were no bigger than insects. While the aliens were busy threatening Admiral Kim, the little machines had crawled all through their ship. "What did you find?" asked Engineer Yoon Ji-woo. She was the best military engineer in the human fleet. If anyone could turn the alien technology against them, it was Yoon. "Their ship is incredible," Shin said, showing her the drone footage. "But it has weaknesses. Look at this." The screen showed the inside of the alien ship. Everything was controlled by computers. Robots did most of the work. The aliens themselves seemed to just give orders and let machines do everything else. "They depend completely on their artificial intelligence," Yoon observed. "Their whole ship is run by computer networks." "That's not all," Shin continued. "Watch this part." The video showed alien crew members using their weapons. The guns were powerful, but they needed energy from the ship's main reactor to work. Without that energy, the weapons were useless. "They have no backup systems," Yoon realized. "If their main power fails, they lose everything." Dr. Park So-young joined them in the hidden command center. She had been studying the recordings of Ambassador Kralath carefully. "I think I understand their weakness," Park said. "They have been the strongest species in space for thousands of years. They never had to fight an enemy who used different tactics." "What do you mean?" Shin asked. "They expect other species to fight like them," Park explained. "Energy weapons against energy weapons, shields against shields, computer against computer. They do not know how to fight an enemy who uses primitive technology." Captain Lee Dong-wook entered the room. He looked tired. For 5 days he had been working with pilot Choi Ha-na to train their fighter squadrons. "How is the training going?" Admiral Kim asked as he arrived. "The pilots are learning fast," Lee reported. Choi has taught them to fly without computer assistance. The aliens expect us to use guided missiles and automated systems. Instead, we will use manual control and unpredictable flight patterns. Choi nodded. Human pilots can make split-second decisions that computers cannot predict. We can change our tactics in the middle of a battle. The aliens relied too much on their machines. Yoon spread out her engineering plans on the table. I have been working on weapons that can defeat their shields. Their energy barriers can stop lasers and plasma bolts, but they are not designed to stop old-fashioned projectiles. Kinetic weapons? Kim asked. Exactly, Yoon replied. Railguns firing solid metal slugs at incredible speed. Nuclear missiles with traditional chemical propulsion, even simple explosive charges placed in the right locations. She pointed to different parts of her plans. I have also been working on electromagnetic pulse devices. If we can disrupt their computer systems, their whole ship becomes helpless. Shin looked excited. The spy drones found something else interesting. The aliens use a central command network to coordinate their fleet. If we can hack into that network, we could turn their own ships against each other, Park finished. Admiral Kim studied all the information. The plan was dangerous, but it might work. The aliens expected humans to fight like every other species they had conquered. They would not be ready for human creativity and unpredictability. What about the colonists? Kim asked. We are evacuating them to hidden shelters, Lee reported. Underground bunkers in the mountains, mining tunnels deep in the planet's crust. If the aliens scan the surface, they will think the planet is empty. Good, Kim said. The aliens must believe we are running away scared. They need to think we are helpless. Yoon showed them her next project. I have been modifying our cargo ships. From the outside, they look like normal transport vessels. But inside, they are full of weapons and armor. The engineer's plan was clever. The modified ships would hide among the asteroids at the edge of the solar system. When the alien fleet arrived, they would see what looked like empty space and a few abandoned mining stations. How many ships can we prepare? Kim asked. 15 combat vessels, Lee replied. Not many compared to what the aliens will bring, but each one will be full of surprises. Dr. Park had been working on psychological warfare. I have been studying their language and culture from the recordings. The Vorthak respect only strength and despise what they see as weakness. They will not take prisoners or show mercy. That works in our favor, Shin said. They will not expect us to surrender and then attack. They will not think we are smart enough to set traps. Pilot Choi had an idea. What if we use their arrogance against them? Let them think they are winning, then hit them when they are not expecting it. Kim nodded. A fighting retreat. We appear to run away in panic, leading them into our trap. The days passed quickly. The human fleet worked around the clock. Engineers modified weapons and installed new systems. Pilots practiced flying without computer assistance. Soldiers prepared hidden weapon platforms throughout the solar system. Yoon's team turned asteroids into guided missiles. They installed rocket engines on space rocks and programmed them to look like natural debris. When the time came, these asteroids would become deadly weapons. Shin's spy drones provided more intelligence. The Vorthak were indeed coming back, with a large fleet. The aliens were confident that their superior technology would easily defeat the primitive humans. They are bringing 50 ships, Shin reported. All of them bigger and more powerful than anything we have. 50 ships against our 15, Lee said. Not good odds. Numbers do not matter if we are smarter, Kim replied. David defeated Goliath with one stone in the right place. Dr. Park had been learning about Vorthak military tactics. They always attack in the same formation. They depend on their shields and energy weapons. They have never faced an enemy who fights differently. As the deadline approached, the human colony appeared to be evacuating. Transport ships left the planet regularly, heading toward the edge of the solar system. The aliens would see this and think the humans were running away in fear. But the truth was different. The transport ships were not carrying refugees. They were carrying weapons and supplies to hidden bases throughout the solar system. The real colonists were safely hidden underground. On the last day, Admiral Kim stood on his bridge once more. The flagship had been completely rebuilt. From outside, it looked like the same ship. Inside, it was packed with new weapons and armor. All ships report ready, Captain Lee announced. Hidden platforms are in position, Yoon added. Fighter squadrons are prepared, Choi reported. Intelligence networks are active, Shin confirmed. Kim looked at his officers. They had worked hard for 30 days. Now they would find out if their plan could work. Remember, Kim said, the aliens think we are primitive and weak. They expect us to fight with honor and follow the rules of civilized warfare. We are going to show them that humans do not always fight fair. The Vorthak fleet would arrive soon. When they did, they would find what appeared to be a helpless human colony trying to escape. They would not realize they were flying into the most dangerous trap humans had ever built. War Commander Thexlar stood proudly on the bridge of his flagship. The Vorthak First Fleet had arrived at the human system exactly on schedule. 50 powerful warships hung in space like metal predators ready to hunt. Report, Thexlar commanded his officers. The system appears mostly empty, Commander, reported the sensor officer. We detect a few human ships near the outer planets, but they seem to be evacuation vessels. Thexlar smiled with satisfaction. The primitive humans had done exactly what Ambassador Krelath had predicted. They were running away like frightened animals. Any military vessels, he asked. Very few, Commander. Perhaps 10 small ships scattered throughout the system. They appear to be trying to escape. Pathetic, Thexlar said. These humans have no courage at all. Deploy the fleet in standard hunting formation. We will destroy their remaining ships and claim this system for the Dominion. Far away, hidden behind a large asteroid, Admiral Kim watched the alien fleet through his sensors. The Vorthak ships moved in perfect formation, just as Dr. Park had predicted. They were confident and careless. They are taking the bait, reported Captain Lee from his hidden position near the fourth planet. Engineer Yoon checked her weapon systems one final time. All hidden platforms are ready, Admiral. The kinetic launchers are loaded and targeted. Fighter squadrons standing by, added Pilot Choi from her camouflaged carrier ship. Kim watched as the alien fleet spread out across the solar system. They were hunting the scattered human ships like wolves chasing sheep. They had no idea that the sheep had teeth. Sergeant Nam Ki-tae monitored the underground shelters on New Seoul. 30,000 colonists waited in hidden tunnels and caves. They were scared but determined. These were their homes, and they would not give up without a fight. All civilians are secure, Nam reported. The planet's surface appears abandoned. War Commander Thexlar ordered his fleet to advance. The Vorthak ships moved confidently toward the inner planets. Their shields were up and their weapons were charged, but they were not expecting serious resistance. Commander, we are detecting the human flagship, reported the tactical officer. It appears to be fleeing toward the asteroid belt. Pursue and destroy, Thexlar ordered. Make an example of their leader. Admiral Kim's ship, the Inchen's Pride, accelerated toward the dense asteroid field between the fourth and fifth planets. To the aliens, it looked like a desperate escape attempt. In reality, Kim was leading them into the heart of his trap. They are following us, Lee reported from his position. 15 enemy ships in pursuit. Perfect, Kim replied. Begin Phase 1. Throughout the solar system, hidden human weapons platforms came to life. They had been disguised as asteroid, mining stations, and space debris. Now they revealed their true purpose. Commander Thexlar's confidence began to waver when his sensor officer made an alarming report. Sir, we are detecting massive energy signatures throughout the system. The humans have hidden weapons platforms everywhere. Impossible, Thexlar said. Our intelligence reported that humans only have primitive technology. Before he could order evasive action, Engineer Yoon triggered the first wave of attacks. Dozens of railguns hidden in asteroids fired solid metal projectiles at incredible speed. The kinetic slugs were simple technology, but they hit with the force of nuclear weapons. The Vorthak shields, designed to stop energy beams, were useless against solid projectiles. The first alien ship to be hit simply crumpled around the metal slug that punched through its hull. Shields are ineffective, screamed the alien tactical officer. These weapons are using kinetic energy, not directed energy. War Commander Thexlar watched in shock as 3 more of his ships were destroyed by weapons that should not have been able to hurt them. The humans were not fighting according to the rules of civilized warfare. All ships, evasive maneuvers, he ordered. Return fire with all weapons. The Vorthak fleet began shooting at the hidden human platforms with their energy weapons. Powerful lasers and plasma cannons lit up space with deadly light, but the human weapons were hidden behind solid asteroid rock that absorbed the energy blasts. Admiral Kim led the pursuing alien ships deeper into the asteroid field. Here, Engineer Yoon had prepared her most dangerous surprise. Dozens of asteroids had been fitted with rocket engines and guidance systems. When Kim gave the signal, they would become massive guided missiles. Now, Kim said calmly. Space rocks that had been floating peacefully for millions of years suddenly came to life. Rocket engines flared, and the asteroids began moving toward the alien ships. Each one weighed thousands of tons and moved at tremendous speed. The Vorthak ships tried to destroy the incoming asteroids with their weapons, but there were too many. The first asteroid struck an alien destroyer and completely crushed it. The second one smashed into a cruiser and broke it in half. "This is impossible," Thexlar shouted. "How can primitive species use such tactics?" Commander Shin's electromagnetic pulse weapons activated next. Powerful radio waves swept through space, designed to disrupt electronic systems. The alien ship's computers began to malfunction. Their artificial intelligence systems crashed. Their automated weapons stopped working. Suddenly, the technologically superior Vorthak fleet was helpless. Their ships drifted in space with dead computers and failing systems. "Now we show them how humans really fight," said Pilot Choi. Human fighter squadrons emerged from hidden positions throughout the asteroid field. Instead of using guided missiles and computer-controlled weapons, the pilots flew manually and fired. Simple projectile weapons, the alien point defense systems, designed to track guided missiles, could not predict the random flight patterns of human pilots. Choi led her squadron in a daring attack run on the alien flagship. "For New Seoul!" she shouted, as her fighters dove toward the massive enemy ship. The human fighters were tiny compared to the alien warships, but they were fast and unpredictable. They fired railgun projectiles and launched simple rockets that the alien computers could not track. War Commander Thexlar watched his fleet being destroyed by enemies he had thought were helpless. Half of his 50 ships were already dead, or dying. The humans were using tactics that no civilized species would employ. "Sir, we must retreat," urged his tactical officer. "No," Thexlar snarled. "We cannot be defeated by primitives." Admiral Kim had been waiting for this moment. The alien commander's pride would not let him retreat even when he was losing. This was exactly what Kim had hoped for. Captain Lee brought his ship out of hiding and aimed directly at the alien flagship. The Incheon's pride was badly damaged, but it still had one final surprise. "All crew to escape pods," Kim ordered. "Prepare for ramming speed." Lee understood immediately. "Sir, the ship will be destroyed." "Sometimes the best weapon is the one your enemy never expects," Kim replied. Human flagship accelerated directly toward the massive Vorthak command ship. War Commander Thexlar ordered his weapons to fire, but the human ship's armor had been specially designed to absorb energy weapon hits for a short time. At the last second, Kim and his bridge crew escaped in emergency pods. The Incheon's pride struck the alien flagship at full speed. The impact destroyed both ships in a brilliant explosion. The remaining Vorthak ships, leaderless and with failing computer systems, were easy targets for the hidden human weapons. Within 2 hours, the entire First Fleet had been destroyed. Only the automated distress beacons escaped to carry news of the disaster back to the Vorthak Dominion. Admiral Kim floated in his escape pod, watching the wreckage of the battle. 50 alien ships had been reduced to glowing debris. The humans had won their first victory, but he knew this was only the beginning. "Admiral," came Captain Lee's voice over the radio. "All human casualties are minimal. The colonists are safe." Kim smiled grimly. "Prepare for the next phase. When the Vorthak learn what happened here, they will send a much larger fleet." Supreme War Marshal Vexthal received the news in his command chamber on the Vorthak homeworld. 50 ships destroyed. An entire fleet wiped out by primitive humans. The report seemed impossible. "This cannot be accurate," Vexthal said to his intelligence officers. "How can barely evolved primates defeat a Vorthak warfleet?" "The automated beacons confirm it, Marshal," replied Intelligence Chief Kyaxmore. All 50 ships were destroyed. No survivors. Vexthal had conquered over 100 worlds for the Dominion. He was the most feared military commander in Vorthak. Space. No enemy had ever defeated him. The idea that humans could destroy a Vorthak fleet was insulting. War Commander Thexlar was careless, Vexthal decided. He underestimated the enemy. "I will not make the same mistake." The Supreme War Marshal began assembling the largest fleet in Vorthak history. 200 warships would travel to the human system. This time, there would be no mistakes. Meanwhile, in the human colony, Admiral Kim stood in his new command center, built deep underground. The victory against the First Fleet had given his people hope, but he knew the real test was coming. "Sir, our spy networks in alien space are reporting massive fleet movements," Commander Shin reported. "The Vorthak are gathering ships from across their empire." Dr. Park had been studying the wreckage of the alien ships. "Their technology is even more advanced than we thought. But they all share the same weakness: complete dependence on computer systems." Engineer Yoon had spent weeks analyzing the captured alien equipment. "I think I understand how their command network operates. All Vorthak ships are connected to a central artificial intelligence that coordinates their tactics. Can we use that against them?" Kim asked. Lieutenant Kang Min-ho, the youngest officer on Kim's staff, had been working on this exact problem. "Sir, I believe we can. If we can access their command network, we might be able to turn their own ships against each other." Kim was impressed by the young officer's thinking. "Explain." Kang showed his analysis on the computer screen. "The Vorthak ships are designed to work together perfectly, but this means they trust signals from other Vorthak ships completely. If we could make them think some of their own ships were enemies." "Brilliant," Shin said. "We could cause their fleet to destroy itself." Captain Lee had been rebuilding the human fleet. "We now have 15 ships ready for combat. Not many against 200, but each one is a trap waiting to spring." Pilot Choi had been training new fighter pilots. Many were young colonists who had volunteered to defend their homes. "The new pilots are learning fast. They understand that human creativity is our greatest weapon." Dr. Park brought disturbing news. "Our intelligence suggests the Second Fleet will not try to capture the colony. They plan to destroy the entire planet from orbit." This changed everything. The humans could not hide underground if the aliens planned to burn the whole world. "Then, we cannot let them reach the planet," Kim decided. "We must stop them in deep space." Lieutenant Kang had been developing a plan for exactly this situation. "Sir, what if we appear to retreat from the system entirely, make them think we are running away in terror?" "They would pursue us," Lee realized. "But where could we lead? Them?" Kang smiled. "To the outer asteroid belt, sir. The one at the very edge of the solar system." Engineer Yoon understood immediately. "We could prepare that entire region as a trap. Thousands of asteroids, all weaponized." The plan was dangerous and complex. The human fleet would have to convince the aliens that they were fleeing in panic. Then they would lead the massive alien armada into a carefully prepared killing field. "It will require perfect timing," Kim said, "and we will have to make the aliens believe we are completely defeated." Over the following weeks, the humans worked to prepare their ultimate trap. The outer asteroid belt was turned into a three-dimensional minefield. Thousands of space rocks were fitted with nuclear weapons and kinetic launchers. Shin's spy networks provided regular updates on the approaching fleet. Supreme War Marshal Vexthal is leading them personally. He has never been defeated in battle. "There is a first time for everything," Kim replied. When the massive Vorthak fleet finally arrived, it was an impressive sight. 200 warships filled space like a metal storm cloud. Each ship was larger and more powerful than anything humans had ever built. Supreme War Marshal Vexthal stood on his flagship's bridge, studying the sensor readings. "Where are the human ships?" We detect approximately 15 vessels near the outer planets, reported his tactical officer. They appear to be fleeing the system. Vexthul smiled coldly. Finally, they show wisdom. But it is too late for wisdom. We will pursue and destroy them all. Admiral Kim watched the alien fleet from his position near the edge of the solar system. His ships were broadcasting panicked radio messages, making it seem like the humans were running away in terror. They are taking the bait, reported Captain Lee. The entire fleet is pursuing us. All ships continue the retreat, Kim ordered. Make it look desperate. The human ships fled toward the outer asteroid belt, broadcasting surrender offers and pleas for mercy. To the aliens, it looked like the humans had finally realized they could not fight the mighty Vorthak Dominion. Supreme War Marshal Vexthul was pleased. These humans learned their lesson. But we cannot allow any to survive. They must be completely eliminated. Lieutenant Kang monitored the alien fleet's approach. Sir, they are maintaining tight formation, perfect for what we have planned. Doctor, Park had studied Vorthak psychology carefully. Their pride will not let them show mercy. They will pursue us until every human ship is destroyed. Engineer Yoon checked her weapon systems one final time. All asteroid platforms are ready, nuclear mines are armed, kinetic launchers are loaded. The chase continued for hours. The human ships led the massive alien fleet deeper into the outer asteroid belt. To the Vorthak, it looked like empty space with some scattered rocks. They had no idea that every asteroid had been turned into a weapon. Supreme War Marshal Vexthul watched his prey flee before his overwhelming force. Soon, the human problem would be solved forever. The Vorthak Dominion would rule this system as they ruled all others. Sir, we are now deep in the asteroid field, reported his navigation officer. Excellent, Vexthul replied. Deploy the fleet for orbital bombardment. Formation. When we finish with their ships, we will glass their planet. This was exactly what Admiral Kim had been waiting for. The alien fleet had spread out in a wide formation, surrounding the human ships. They thought they had trapped their prey. In reality, they had trapped themselves. All human ships emergency scatter pattern, Kim ordered. Execute the plan now. The human vessels suddenly broke formation and accelerated in different directions. To the aliens, it looked like a final, desperate attempt to escape. Supreme War. Marshal Vexthul laughed. Pathetic. All ships open fire, destroy them all. At that moment, Engineer Yoon triggered the trap. Throughout the asteroid field, thousands of hidden weapons came to life. Nuclear mines detonated in brilliant flashes. Kinetic launchers hurled massive projectiles at the alien ships. Asteroids fitted with rocket engines became guided missiles. The Vorthak fleet found itself caught in a three-dimensional storm of destruction. Their shields, designed for energy weapons, could not stop the solid projectiles and nuclear explosions. What is happening? Vexthul shouted as his ships began exploding around him. Sir, the asteroids are attacking us, his tactical officer screamed. The entire field is weaponized. For the first time in his long military career, Supreme War Marshal Vexthul felt fear. The asteroid field had become a nightmare of fire and destruction. Supreme War Marshal Vexthul watched in horror as his mighty fleet was torn apart by weapons that should not have existed. Shields are useless, screamed his tactical officer. The kinetic projectiles are punching through everything. Vexthul had never seen anything like this. Solid asteroids were moving like guided missiles, smashing into his ships with unstoppable force. Nuclear explosions lit up space like tiny suns. His advanced energy shields could not stop primitive kinetic weapons. How many ships have we lost? He demanded. 47 destroyed, sir. Many more are damaged. Admiral Kim coordinated the attack from his command ship. Around him, the carefully planned trap was working perfectly. The aliens had expected another civilized battle with energy, weapons, and computer-controlled tactics. Instead, they faced chaos and destruction from every direction. Phase 2, Kim ordered calmly. Lieutenant Kang activated his computer virus program. For weeks, he had been preparing to hack into the Vorthak command network. Now, as the alien, ships tried to coordinate their response to the attack. His virus spread through their communication systems. Sir, we have access to their fleet network, Kang reported excitedly. Do it, Kim replied. The virus began sending false commands to the Vorthak ships. Some vessels received orders to fire on their own allies. Others were told that nearby friendly ships were actually human vessels in disguise. Supreme War Marshal. Vexthal watched in confusion as his own ships began attacking each other. His communication systems were showing impossible information. Vorthak ships identified as human enemies. Sir, the Destroyer of Worlds is firing on the Stellar Conquest, his officer reported. That's impossible, order them to stop. But the orders were not getting through. The human virus had corrupted the entire command network. Ship identification systems were malfunctioning. Targeting computers were showing friendly vessels as enemies. Engineer Yoon triggered the next wave of attacks. She had saved the best for last. Asteroids packed with electromagnetic pulse devices. When they detonated, powerful radio waves swept through the alien fleet, causing even more computer failures. The sophisticated Vorthak ships became helpless as their artificial intelligence systems crashed. Weapons stopped firing, shields failed, navigation computers went dark. All systems are failing, the tactical officer shouted. We have no computer control. Pilot Choi saw her opportunity. She led her fighter squadrons out of hiding behind large asteroids. The human pilots flew manually using their own eyes and instincts instead of computer guidance. Attack, Choi ordered. Hit them while they are blind. The small human fighters swarmed around the massive alien ships like angry wasps. They fired simple kinetic weapons and launched basic rockets. The alien point defense systems, controlled by crashed computers, could not respond. Captain Lee brought his ship in close to the alien flagship. His vessel had been specially modified with a powerful railgun that could fire enormous metal slugs. Target their main reactor, Lee ordered his gunner. The solid projectile smashed through the alien ship's hull and destroyed its power core. The flagship went dark, drifting helplessly in space. Supreme War Marshal Vexthal found himself trapped on a powerless ship, surrounded by the wreckage of his fleet. Everything had gone wrong. His superior technology had failed him completely. Sir, we must abandon ship, urged his surviving officers. But there was nowhere to go. The human fighters were destroying every escape pod that launched. No Vorthak would survive to report what had happened here. Commander Shin had prepared for this moment. His spy drones had mapped every ship in the alien fleet. Now he made sure that every computer system, every artificial intelligence, every automated beacon was completely destroyed. No information can return to the Vorthak homeworld, Shin reported. They will have no idea what happened to this fleet. Dr. Park monitored the final stages of the battle. The aliens never understood human psychology. They could not believe that a primitive species would use such ruthless tactics. The battle raged for 6 more hours, but the outcome was never in doubt. The Vorthak ships, designed to fight other high-technology enemies, were helpless against human creativity and unpredictability. One by one, the alien vessels were destroyed. Some were smashed by asteroid missiles. Others were torn apart by nuclear explosions. Many were destroyed by their own allies, confused by the human-computer virus. Admiral Kim watched the last alien ship explode in a ball of fire. 200 Vorthak warships had entered the asteroid field. None would leave. All enemy vessels destroyed, reported Captain Lee. The fleet is completely eliminated. Casualties? Kim asked. Minimal, sir. We lost 3 ships and 47 crew members. It was an incredible victory. The humans had faced overwhelming odds and won through superior tactics and careful planning. Lieutenant Kang made his final report. Sir, I have confirmed that all alien communication systems are destroyed. No automated signals escaped the system. This was crucial. The Vorthak Dominion would know that their second fleet had disappeared, but they would not know how or why. The humans would remain a mystery. Engineer Yoon began cleanup operations. We need to remove all traces of our weapon systems. When the next aliens arrive, they must see only natural asteroids. Will there be a next time? Asked Pilot Choi. Dr. Park had been thinking about this. The Vorthak have now lost 2 entire fleets in this system. They will be afraid to return. Other alien species will hear rumors about the place where Vorthak ships vanish. Kim nodded. Fear is our best defense now. As long as they do not understand how we defeated them, they will be afraid to attack us. The human colony was saved, but the implications were much larger. News of the Vorthak defeats would spread throughout alien space. Humanity had announced itself as a force to be respected and feared. Months later, in the capital of the Vorthak Dominion, officials tried to understand what had happened. 2 fleets had disappeared completely. No wreckage was found. No survivors returned. No messages were received. Perhaps they encountered some unknown space phenomenon, suggested one official. Or another alien species with superior technology, said another. None of them considered the truth, that primitive humans had outfought the mighty Vorthak using simple weapons and clever tactics. Back on New Sol, life continued peacefully. The colonists emerged from their hiding places and returned to their farms and cities. Children played in the schools. Engineers built new structures under the alien sun. Admiral Kim stood on the observation deck of the new orbital station, looking down at the blue and green world below. The planet was safe, but he knew that humanity's real journey was just beginning. "Sir," said Captain Lee, joining him at the window. "Long-range sensors are detecting ships from other alien species. They seem to be keeping their distance." Kim smiled. "Good. Let them wonder what happened to the Vorthak fleets. Let them fear the humans they once thought were primitive." Dr. Park brought the latest intelligence reports. Alien traders are spreading stories about the ghost system where Vorthak ships disappear. Some species are avoiding this entire region of space. "Perfect," Kim replied. "Our reputation is our best weapon now." Lieutenant Kang had been promoted to commander for his brilliant hacking work. "Sir, what if they send a larger fleet? 300 ships? 500? Kim considered this carefully. "Then we will have to be even more creative. Humans always find a way." Engineer Yoon was already working on new defensive systems. "I have ideas for weapons they have never seen before. If anyone attacks us again, they will learn that humans are full of surprises." The battle was over, but the war for humanity's place among the stars had just begun. The species that had been dismissed as primitive had proven they could defeat any enemy through courage, creativity, and the willingness to fight by their own rules. In the darkness of space, 2 alien fleets had vanished without a trace. The galaxy would remember that some enemies are most dangerous when they appear weakest.